Well, hello and welcome back to this European Schoolnet Academy e-learning MOOC on developing digital skills in the classroom. This is Module 5, which is all about what is social media. And in the second part of Module 5, we're going to have a good look at what actually social media is and also have a think about some different social media sources. So the first question is, how can we define social media? Well, if you do your research, as I'm sure many of you have, you'll find lots and lots and lots of definitions for social media all over the web. Some of them are quite simple, some of them are quite long, some of them are quite complicated. But it would seem that most people have got an opinion on actually what social media is and what social media can do. My question to you is, does anybody actually care anymore? And the reason that I say that is because pretty much the whole of the web is now social. Can you think of a website that you've been on recently where you haven't been able to leave a comment? A website that you've been on recently where you haven't been able to share on Twitter, on Facebook, on Google+? A website that you've been on recently where you haven't been able to buy a product or service or make a recommendation to somebody else? The answer's probably not if it's a modern website, and it's because the whole of the web is now social. I do, however, think that traditional social media has got certain characteristics which are important characteristics for us to understand as educators. First of all, I would say that most types of social media challenge traditional models. They challenge traditional hierarchy. It allows me, for example, as a teacher, to communicate directly and to give my opinions directly to government without having to go through that hierarchy. And the reason for that is because the hierarchy has been completely reversed. It gives power back to everybody and makes sure that everybody has a voice. It allows us to communicate with people that we might not have been able to communicate with before. In fact, it allows us to communicate with anybody that will listen. It also allows us to target people if we really want them to hear our voice. As well as communication, it links people together to collaborate on a wide variety of interesting topics to help us solve global problems, but also problems that are going on in our classroom. And importantly, it gives us that sense of audience, that actually there are people out there who have got common interest. And you will already know that audience has been such a key theme throughout this e-learning course, not just for students, but also for teachers as well. And finally, I would say, one of the most important characteristics of social media is it's open. Anybody that's got access to a computer and has got access to the internet are able to use these resources. So, is social media a bit of a fad, as in will it really catch on, or is it a little bit of a revolution? Again, different people have got different opinions on this. Here's some facts across Europe. 1 in 5 couples meet online. If Facebook was a country, it would be the world's largest country. There were over 75 million people playing Farmville, and that's more than there were real farmers, and 2 new members join LinkedIn every second. We can also see here from looking at this graph the growth of social network patents in recent years, and you can see they're going up and up and up and up. Certainly business thinks that social media is important. A good website to find out more about social media is socialnomics.net, and on socialnomics.net every year they publish a video which is called the Social Media Revolution, which updates certain facts about social media trends across the web. The videos aren't particularly long, they're either 2 or 3 minutes long, and I would encourage you to have a look at this video as part of this course. I would also encourage you to go back and look at some of the previous videos from 2010, 2011, etc, 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 just to see how social media trends have changed over time. So, going back to that website socialnomics.net, is it a fad or is it going to be a revolution? Social media isn't a fad, it's a fundamental shift in the way that we communicate, or the way that we can communicate might be a better way of saying this. Let's have a look at some popular social media sites. Facebook, I'm sure, is one that you'll have already heard of. But do you know what the second biggest social network site in the world is? It's Tencent, which is the Chinese equivalent of Facebook. And again, it's important that we're aware of these different sites and services if we're going to educate our children appropriately. We've got lots of other sites as well. Google has also got its own social networking site in the form of Google+. YouTube is still owned by Google, but again it's got that social aspect to it where you can comment and share and even remix other people's videos. We've got Twitter, the microblogging network, where you have to limit your responses and your questions to only 140 characters. We've got things like WhatsApp, which allow us to communicate across other people and people that within our network. We've got LinkedIn, which markets itself as the social media network for professionals. And we've already talked about LinkedIn and how important it is in terms of securing jobs elsewhere in this course. Even Wikipedia has got the social aspect to it. And again, we've mentioned it already in the course by the way that we can remix and write different articles and collaborate with each other as we're trying to develop an accurate article. We've got sites like WordPress, which is a blogging platform which allow us all to get in a voice and we can again leave pictures. We've got Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, a way that we can quickly share and upload and remix photographs across the net. And some social network photograph sites that have been around for a long time, such as Flickr, which is now owned by Yahoo. We've also got other social networking sites like SlideShare. SlideShare is a really important one if you're a teacher, because it's basically the equivalent of YouTube but for PowerPoint presentations. You might not know that SlideShare is owned by LinkedIn. So we really are, we think, in this kind of social media evolution. And of course, it's not just using social media services. It's also important to remember that now, by using our social media login IDs, such as our Twitter account, our Facebook account, our Google account, we can now log into lots of other products and services as well. So social media then doesn't just become about communication and collaboration, it also becomes about access to other products and services. So, who uses social media? Well, social media is pretty much used by most people who use the web. That would be individuals, businesses, governments, and of course education. And it's important, I think, in the context of this course for two reasons. First of all, a good understanding of social media is important to help people get a job. One of the most famous quotes that I like is that if Google doesn't know who you are, then basically it doesn't know that you exist. It's why having things like a LinkedIn profile, being able to do a Skype interview, being able to manage your own social media responsibly are really important if you're trying to secure the job that you want. But it's not just about getting the job, it's also about how do we use social media in business. And in a video later on in this unit, we'll talk about some businesses that use social media well, and also about the increase of jobs that are now available to people across Europe in using social media. So, that's a bit of an introduction in terms of what social media is. What I want you to do now is to go away and think about some of the questions that we've set you out there on the e-learning platform. See you in the next video.